Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to see more information about the podcast, or if you'd like to see more of my free resources, you can go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. If you have been getting a lot of value out of this podcast, then please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this, and leave a positive review. But for now, enjoy this episode. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the very first Wednesday edition of the Practical Stoic Podcast. For those of you who don't know yet, in this episode each week I'll be asking a different question to do with your journey with Stoicism, and then I'll be sharing your answers here on the episode. The purpose is really to strengthen everyone else as they try to live a Stoic life, and also to maybe get some new insights and helpful ideas. So this week's question was, which Stoic practice has most positively impacted your life over the past year? And I have to say that you guys absolutely delivered. We've got some really awesome answers here. And I might quickly start with my answer to the question, and then I'll read everyone else's answers. So I have to say that there have been so many practices that have helped me in the past year, but one that I've really enjoyed and one that I really get so much benefit from is aligning my life more closely with nature. I've always been obsessed with the outdoors, but since learning about Stoicism, I've really taken that obsession to a new level. I've been taking every opportunity that I can to get outside into nature, whether that's going to the beach or climbing a mountain or taking a hike. I also will rarely run on the sidewalk in my neighborhood. I actually drive 5 minutes away to a national park and run on the fire trails so that I can get that time in the forest every single day. I've also been taking a lot of pictures while I'm in nature, and that's been a really great way for me to really focus in and maybe notice things that I didn't even consider when I would have just been walking past or hiking or running. Aligning my life more closely with nature has helped me to be happier, calmer, more mindful, and more conscious of just how small we all are in the big scheme of things. We are only a tiny part of a massive ecosystem. And I think that over the past year, I've come to the belief that we would all care about this world so much more if we realized that we are not separate from nature, but we are in fact a part of it. So anyway, that's my answer, but let's hear from the other Stoics who have replied to the question. We had an answer from Leo, and he said, "I've been inspired by Seneca's advice of living each day as a separate life. Basically, I start each day with a clean slate and try to improve my interactions with family, friends, and strangers. I also pay closer attention to my surroundings, for example in the park or in the cafe, and I appreciate their uniqueness. Every day is a new awakening and brings joy and a chance of redemption." So Leo, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure that we can all get some really good ideas out of that. And the quote that he's referring to is when Seneca said, quote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life," end quote. This is such an amazing principle to live by, and I'm grateful that Leo brought that up because I could definitely be doing more of that. I also love what he said about paying closer attention to his surroundings. That is so important. It kind of reminds me of the Jim Rohn quote that I love, which says, "Wherever you are, be there." It's so easy to get distracted in life, and I feel like most people are just drifting along in a trance, never seeing or noticing anything that happens outside of their daily routine. But when you really start to think about where you are and what you're doing, it's like a new world is opened up. Anyway, thanks again, Leo, and I really look forward to hearing from you more in the future. So next we had an answer from Karen, and she said, "The Stoic practice that has impacted me the most is understanding the dichotomy of control. As I have examined my actions and reactions, most of my unhappiness and discontent centered around trying to control what is out of my control. Now I ask myself if what I'm concerned about is within my control or not. If it's not, I don't stress over it, but approach the problem more analytically without the emotional baggage. If it is within my control, I find myself calmer and better equipped emotionally to make better choices. I enjoy the process and I'm much less anxious now." So thank you so much for that awesome answer, Karen. I can totally agree with you there, that this is one of the most helpful of all the Stoic practices. When you finally realize that most of your pain is coming from trying to control things that are outside of your power, that is a game changer. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I can't wait to hear your thoughts again in the future. The next answer comes from Jeff, and he said that the best Stoic practice for me has been the realization that the only thing I have control over is my mind. My thoughts, reactions, attitude, every single thing that emanates from within is all I have true control over. It has helped me to be a more calm, understanding, pleasant, and happy person. So what I really love about this answer is the last part where he says that it's made him more calm, understanding, pleasant, and happy. This is exactly how practicing Stoicism should make us feel. And you can really feel these emotions once you start to understand, like Jeff and Karen, that your energy is far better spent in areas of your life where you do have power. Thanks again for sharing that with us, Jeff. So we have another similar answer that comes from John, and he says that the most helpful Stoic practice for him has been the trichotomy of control. It's simple, powerful, and enlightening. Once you fully understand the concepts, it will revolutionize and change your outlook forever. Accepting that there will always be people in the world out to get you or bring you down, and knowing what you can and cannot control is an essential toolkit for life. I completely agree with John here. The dichotomy or trichotomy of control can absolutely be revolutionary in a person's life. Also, I love what John says about understanding that there will always be negative people in the world. Once you know this, and once you understand that you can't really control that, then you can just focus on being the best person that you can be, and you don't have to spend so much time worrying about what other people are doing. It's a great shield against negativity and anger. So thanks again for that great answer, John. Next, we have an answer from Daniel. He says, Stoicism has positively impacted my life over the last year in many ways. I think the most impact has come from reframing situations with a gratitude mindset. For instance, my wife and I have considered moving to another country for a long time. The dream that was in our minds was such a beautiful image. Unfortunately, this clouded my view of where we live right now, and I really didn't see what was right before my eyes. Last year, I bought a road bike and started cycling in my local area. I realized how nice it was and how fortunate we are to live here. What might have been boring or too quiet before is now peaceful and safe. The scenery is endless and the cycle routes are plentiful. Therefore, huge changes have happened over the last year, and my life and location seem completely different, when in fact nothing external has changed. I'm grateful for so many things now, which were previously taken for granted. Gratitude and appreciating the simple pleasures in life is extremely powerful, and I think that almost anyone can benefit from that Stoic mindset in their daily life. Daniel, thank you so much for that answer. I completely agree that gratitude can be one of the most insanely helpful mindsets to adapt in life. And Daniel's past year is an awesome example of how changing your opinion can change your reality. The Stoics always talked about how everything is opinion, and what Daniel has demonstrated here is exactly that. He's changed his opinion and mindset from wanting something new to loving something that he already has. And as a result, he's seen some very positive changes in his life. That is such a powerful move. So Daniel, I'm so grateful for your answer because this is something that people really need to hear. Change your mind and you can change your life. Our final answer, and one that's along similar lines, comes from Stephen, who says, although there are so many Stoic practices that help me in my daily life, I feel like the practice of gratitude has had the most impact on me in the past year. By making a conscious effort to focus on the positives in life, I've been able to cope a lot better with the setbacks and struggles that I've encountered. As an example, I've managed to deal with some health issues by consciously focusing on the good aspects of my health that I can be grateful for. I've been able to pull myself out of negative moods by considering just how lucky I am in comparison to the countless people in the world suffering from serious, life-threatening diseases like cancer. I think of everything my body can do and realize just how fortunate I am compared to other people. When I listen to music, I think of all the deaf people who are in the world, and I realize how much of a gift I've been blessed with. When I read, watch a film, or enjoy a beautiful scene in nature, I think of all the blind people and am instantly reminded that the gift of sight is not to be taken for granted. When I go for a walk in the woods, I think of how lucky I am to have healthy working legs, which is not the case for everyone. This practice of focusing on what I have to be grateful for and thinking of others who are less fortunate has helped me to put things in perspective and allowed me to maintain a positive mood in difficult times. It's also helped to direct my focus outwards, away from the ego, and increased my sense of compassion for other people. I think the world would be a better place for everyone if we all committed to developing a deep sense of gratitude for all the good in our lives. Well, I absolutely agree with everything that Stephen is saying here, and I couldn't have put it better. I think that one of the best things that can come from a greater sense of gratitude is a healthy perspective. People seem to put on blinders, and they start to believe that they have it worse than anyone else, where the opposite is actually true. When you adopt a gratitude mindset and realize that what you have is more than enough to be truly happy, that's the day that your life changes for good. And Stephen is a perfect example of this. So Stephen, thank you so much for that truly inspiring answer. So that concludes everyone's answers for this week. I'm so grateful for everyone who took the time to write in, because not only have you inspired me, but I'm sure that you've helped many people who listen to this podcast. If you'd like to contribute to next Wednesday's podcast, then just go to my website and scroll down on the home page. As you do, a ribbon will appear and you can subscribe to the email list. I'll be sending out this week's email over the next couple of days, but if you really don't want to subscribe, then I'll give you next week's question right now and you can send me an email via my contact page at risetothegoodlife.com. So next week's question is this: who is your favorite Stoic and why? Now, this doesn't have to be an ancient Stoic either. It could be just someone who has been practicing these principles of Stoicism in modern times. You can choose anyone who has lived a life of Stoicism. I really look forward to hearing your answers, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. But until then, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I hope that you've gotten a lot of value out of it, and I hope that it helps you to live a better life. If you have been enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this, and leave a positive review so that other people can have the chance to listen to this great work. Don't forget that you can see more free resources on my website at risetothegoodlife.com or on Facebook at Practical Stoic Quotes.